one of my favorite people in the world, okay? He's a real comedian, people. This is no bullshit, all right? Won the Seattle Comedy Competition. Won the Boston Comedy Competition. Won Ventura Harbor Comedy Competition. Was the third annual Comedy Cage Match competition winner at the Hard Rock Cafe in Las Vegas. Had a residency at the Stratosphere. Had a residency at the Tropicana in Vegas. This guy is a comedic beast and a genius, motherfuckers. And let me tell you something. All you motherfuckers think you do comedy, you think you fucking headline, this motherfucker headlines. And we're going to talk about the demise of comedy. We have all four different opinions, but let me intro my close friend, Tommy Savitt.
Am I on?
You are on, Mr. Savitt.
I'm on. Well,
first of all, thank you for getting on the podcast, Tommy.
My pleasure.
I've never seen Mike suck another man's dick so well. That was fucking fantastic.
Bitch,
Great intro.
Ron
Great
Big
intro.
Bush. I told you, I promised him, I'd fucking hook him. My mother even likes Tommy. My mother fucking hates everybody. It's so fucking weird. She loves him. It's the strangest.
He's adorable. Thing. Look at him.
Don't touch him. He's straight as a fucking fag.
He's adorable.
That's our gay guy.
So what is my question?
Okay, this is the thing, man. Savitt and I have been talking about this for a week. Tommy thinks that stand-up comedy is fucking over in the world. Tommy, explain your side of the case.
Well, I'm on this show because, Mike, I want to help the delusional. Okay, the virus is not going away. Anyone that does their ample research will understand that. Will read the science journals. It's here to stay. We may have a vaccine maybe 3 years from now, 2 years from now plus, with a 32% efficacy rate. Read it up. Do it at your own leisure. I do my own reading at my own because I have a lot of sabbatical time right now. The comedy clubs cannot sustain themselves. It's not going to happen. A lot of these comedy clubs will become parking lots, bagel shops, and that if they're smart. Will there be comedy? Yeah. There'll be in between the subway guy that plays the spoons on the cups. There'll be comedy. Before the harmonica singer, there'll be speakeasies. I'm not going to say you can do it. You can do it in the subway. God bless you. But the reality is you have to find your inner talent. You have to find what else you do because the reality, by the way, I'm not talking out of my ass. I spend all day reading and I'm very open to hear everything. To make a living in comedy, forget about it. It's not going to happen. And what's going to happen is a lot of these mom and pop places, comedy clubs, are going to go out of business and they're going to be bought out by a monolith, maybe a Levity or something else. And so they're all going to be bought out if they have the patience for it and the deep pockets. And the rest, you'll always be able to do comedy. We're talking about making a living. Not going to happen. Not in a long while. This disease is not going anywhere. Also, our habits have been changed. There are articles by Hollywood moguls saying that the habits of the consumer has been changed permanently. All it takes is 3 months, and it could be less than that, to permanently change people's consumers' habits. So what does that mean? That means that right now, the Hollywood moguls are going to be producing 5 blockbusters a year for the cinemas for you to go to attend because they have acknowledged this fact. So basically, it's about to accept reality, and we have all the talents, is what I'm saying. It's a positive. I'm not a negative guy. It's a positive. What I'm saying is that we have to, in interim, look for other ways to cachet in our abilities.
That's it.
I agree. I think it's changing to the point where I said this 5 years ago before the whole COVID thing that the technology was going to become so advanced that it would force it into a different direction because live performing was deteriorating then. So I think in terms of stand-up comedy, if people want to continue to do it, it'll be a piece of their career. It's not going to be the whole thing. It'll be a piece, and they're going to have to do other things in entertainment to make that work. That's my opinion on this. What's your opinion, Ron?
I tend to agree. I think that comedians have been moving into movies over the past like 5, 6 years, 5, 10 years, very, very quickly now. It used to be where the bigger actors got into movies. Now you're seeing pretty much, actors are doing stand-up so they can get auditions, and so I think that kind of what Tommy was saying. I think there are a lot of the comedy clubs are going to close because they're not large enough to be able to do the social distancing that's necessary for them to sustain themselves. I think half of the comedy clubs were poorly run anyway. Just out of poor business management and acumen, you're going to lose a lot of comedy clubs. So I think you're going to probably lose like a good 50% of them just right off the bat. I do think that underground comedy is going to take off. I think that is going to be something that is going to happen big time. And where I will disagree is I think that I think people by nature, if there is a vaccine by the middle of next year, right? People by nature we're social creatures. We want to get out. We want to have a good time, that type of stuff. And so I think people will go back to comedy clubs, just not at the numbers that they were going before. And so you're going to see, it's going to be harder for up and coming comedians to get visibility because all the TV shows, all these comedians with TV shows or with TV credits are going to be trying to get all the stage time. So what does that look like over the next year or so? I don't know, but I don't, it's going to probably take a few years for comedy to get to a place where it could somewhat look like it was before the pandemic. Jeff?
Yeah, man. First of all, I don't listen to executives because these are the same motherfuckers that greenlit like Cats, Pluto Nash, Dudley Do Right. These motherfuckers don't know.
Right.
I think as long as you have the South, the Midwest, I think you always have stand up because they don't give a fuck. I think that they will just reconstruct the way they do comedy clubs. You're starting to see that already. You're starting to see places where they have outside seating and they got 40, 50 seats out there spread and people are performing for bands and for comedians. People forget that
Right.
comedy was never really meant to be a headlining act. They were always openers for bands and for things like that. It didn't come big until Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. They changed the game on that. So I do think that there will be changes until it comes back, but people love live shows. People are tired of being inside.
Right.
People want to go out and see
Right.
something. And I don't think it's dead. I think when it does come back, it's gonna be bigger than ever because people are just tired of being fucking in the house.
Okay,
Right.
I was last week. By the way, I still do performances, and I have to discount what was just said. The clubs are at a limited capacity, at 30% capacity. I speak to the club owners. I speak to 30 club owners. It's not going to happen. And I'm being emphatic about this because I do it, okay? I live it. I make my living off of this. So here's the deal. The club owners are losing money. They don't foresee a future in it. That's the reality. So you can talk all you want, and everyone's wrong. I'm telling you, I'm still going out performing, but they're losing money. Fact. It's not the case. A lot of the customers are not coming back. A lot of elderly are never coming back. They're afraid. The vaccine that they promote, if it's ever going to come out in 3 years, maybe we'll be at a 32% efficacy rate. Good luck to you. And I live it. I go out. I still go out. It's not happening. Stop the delusion. Wake up and prepare. The WHO just said we're here with this virus for the next 2-3 years. By the way, I read other articles in science journals indefinitely. So good luck with this perspective. God bless you. I do this. I talk to club owners. Okay, have a different opinion. This is the reality. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying the comedy will be around the speakeasy undergrounds. Good luck with the money with that to make a living. But I'm trying. Actually, I'm doing this to help people. Actually, to open up their horizons. Do comedy when you can, and do something else to protect yourself. That's all.
Right. Because I know I got friends that are going out and they still going out working, but now instead of doing 2 shows, they're doing 4 a day. So they've adjusted it like that.
Yeah, so
I know
I'm sure
different
they're
clubs are
making
doing
a
that.
lot of money.
Right.
Yeah, and listen, I agree with you. I mean, until there is a workable vaccine that has an above 65% efficacy rate, you're not going to be able to control the virus in this country. And so the same thing can be said about bands. The same things can be said about any form of live performance, because you have the same issues with crowd control and all these things. And kind of going back to what Tommy was saying, these comedy club owners, there's not a lot of money there for them. Look at the Laugh Factory here in Hollywood. How the fuck is that place going to make money when it's just one room, right?
Call it the glue factory.
The glue, right?
Well,
it's done, baby. It's done.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done.
So but what will happen is that you will see the types of venues change. I do agree with Jeff. People want to get out. They will want to have a good time. You'll see some type of adaptation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Let me chime in, because I never did the road as much as Tommy, but I did the road a lot, and I made my living at it. So in defense of him, in defense of everybody, I saw this demise 6 years ago. Yeah, the money was doing this. When I started, I made more money featuring than I did at the end headlining, because the money was doing this, because they weren't paying for travel costs and they were just cutting fucking everything. I think in defense of comics in general, I think this is a good thing, because it's getting rid of all these motherfuckers, the shitty comics, the shitty club owners, the fucking people that shouldn't be doing it, people that give advice that they've never even done fucking stand-up, and they're judging your fucking act on whether you work or not. They were a fucking busboy fucking 2 weeks ago. Now they're the fucking promoter of the club. I've been in that situation. I know Tommy has several fucking times, where you're being judged by a fucking idiot who knows nothing and doesn't want to fucking pay you. The cool thing is, if the fucking showcase clubs actually collapsed, which they should, because they don't pay the comics, and it's an illusion that they think they're going to become famous. Back in the day, in defense of Jeff, 30 years ago, maybe even as little as 20 years ago, at the store. I was never a regular at the store, but I love the way Mitzi would work comics, where she would give them time and they could grow and develop into like a fucking star. They don't have that no more. There's no more fucking spots. You get somebody telling you how to do your fucking act. You're auditioning for somebody who can't pay you more than $15, and there's no spots. There's no place to put you. So it's like you're on this fucking wheel. The only way to break out of that, I think, in defense of all of us, is this. You create product in other parts of the business. You become so fucking big that you can actually do your own live shit where if it's even limited as far as people, you're not losing anything because you've made your money from other things. But I think I agree with Tommy on this one aspect. I think as far as traditional clubs, unless they have deep fucking pockets, they're not fucking staying open. I've been it. I've seen it. You've seen it way more than me. And it's done. And I'm kind of glad in a way. I think what's cool about this, if comics hear this shit, because they're going to hate what I say now, it's empowering you fuckers to think for yourselves. You think for yourself now. You create your own shit. You become who you want to become, and you do what you want to do. You don't have somebody breathing over your fucking head like a club owner from the factory or the fucking improv telling you how to do your act, because each fucking comic sounds the same because they want to sell drinks. As Tommy knows, Tom, you know the whole deal. You can't empty the fucking room. People go, oh.
By the way, a tremendous cleansing is about to happen. It's like the flood of Noah. A lot of the evil will be eviscerated from
Right.
our. There's a lot of evil. A lot of evil is attracted to comedy and run comedy clubs. Not all. I'm just saying there's some and.
Right.
And it's going to be a whole new cleansing. I'm not saying you're not going to be able to perform. That's not what I'm saying. You could always perform in the park, I'm just saying the way we understand stand-up comedy is not going to exist anymore, and at least for another 2-3+ years. Non-debatable, non-questionable. The question is, okay, we have comedy in our blood. So what else can we do to attract money toward us? Because stand-up comedy, you'll get a little dib here and there, but not to make a living. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I've been a road dog for my God, how many years? I do this for a living. I'm telling you, it's not reality. To make money, you could always do comedy. You could do it at the subway. You could do it in the park. But the point is, we have to be creative and open up our minds and diversify ourselves. Yeah. And whether it's social media, whether it's doing backyard promotions and form your own corporations, and people will book you in your backyards, private parties. There'll still be corporate gigs and stuff like that. So we just have to, it's not coming back. And that's all I want to say is that I want people to wake up and stop.
Right. I think we've always been awake. I mean, I've toured with Mooney, I've toured with different people. And it's, if you can put butts, it's always been this way. If you got a name and you can put butts in the seats, you're going to work. But also on top of that, what I've learned from these people is you got to have merchandising to sell. You may make $2,000 2 shows, but you're going to make another 10, 15 doing merchandising. So that has always been, whoever's been the most creative is going to make a lot more money. And so that's all you're really saying is, you've always needed to be creative. You've always needed to create other aspects. Right. You've always needed to do these things that you're talking about as a comedian. Even if you've been in the game for a long time, if you started. Those things have always been there. What's not going to be there is doing arenas. What's not going to be there is doing coliseums. But I do think that clubs will adjust. I think they will figure it out. But I think if you got names that put butts in seats, those people will work. If you're just a regular Smo Joe that just you work the road all the time, no, you're probably going to get squeezed out. But if you have a name, but that's always been that way, if you got a name, you're going to be working.
So are the names going to drop down in their money to do the limited venue at the limited 30% capacity? I mean,
yes, they will. Just like baseball players are going to take a $40 million cut, just like basketball players are taking a $30 million cut.
Okay.
Yes, comics and actors are going to have to do the same.
Okay, let's say that's true. The names are going to get their cut. What happens to the rest of the community?
And let me jump in on that one. And so this is where I think we have where we have an opportunity. In LA and in all the cities that I've been to, you have these people that are promoting shows and they're booking their friends. They have this nepotism going on. It's like, you know, Trump bringing on Jared and fucking Ivanka. They're bringing all their friends in that aren't that funny. And the private shows, the underground shows, the promoter shows, those are the shows that you'll start seeing a lot more. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to be immediate, but for you to be able to pack houses, you're going to have to have a product people want. And booking your friends who aren't funny is not going to put people coming back to your shows. If people come to a show and all the comedians are good, they're going to come back to that promoter's show. If you look at electronic music as the perfect example, people don't know who these fucking DJs are. They've never seen them before. They're paying $20, $30, $150 to go in to see them because they know that the promoters are going to go out there and curate the proper DJs. The same thing's going to start happening to comedians. They're going to know if I go to this promoter's show that they're going to have good comedians. And that's where it's going to take time, but the promoters are going to have to recognize, don't book your friends, book the Tommies, book the Mikes, book the Jeffs, book the people that are actually going to blow the fucking crowd to pieces so they can continually have bigger and better shows. There's shitloads of venues all around the country that are going to be needing places that are going to be large enough to be able to do comedy shows. You're going to need to be able to curate the right comedian consistently throughout the entire show to be able to actually have a good show.
Well, what's interesting too is that Ron said, Tommy, and I don't know if you know this, but there's all these fucking comics like up in like Ventura and these other places. I'm not going to name names because I like these people, but they do book the same fucking people over and over again.
And they're horrible.
Their fucking shows are like really, it's like a hobby. Like what Tommy said, it's a fucking hobby.
But
it's
Mike,
like,
the
truth.
Deeper than that, Mike. By the way, I've spoken to 30 club owners. This is what I do for a living. I don't have this living anymore. I still do comedy. I still go on the road. So I am in the pulse of what's going on. And I speak to comedy. A lot of people are never returning. It takes 3 months to change people's habits. We've exceeded 3 months in our salutation, our quarantine. Our habits, the consumer habits have changed. Hollywood has recognized that.
Yeah.
People are not, I'm telling you, you're getting a total wipeout on the demographic. Maybe it's 50 and above. It could be 40 and above. Whatever it is, they're not coming out again. They're not coming out again. And with a dubious vaccine that may or may or not come out in 3 years, 5 years, they're not coming out. You're not going to be able to sustain. This is all nice talk. I talk directly. I'm in the live front. You can say what you want to say to me. I know what the current position is. I make a living off of this. And I'm not here to be a downsayer. I'm here to tell all of you to open up your horizons and do other things as well.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, Tommy. You know, I agree with what you're saying because the writing, you know, I think the virus is sped that process up. You know, it was already going that direction. You know, the Comedy Store and all these places were already booking comedians that are not able to make a room laugh. You know, and so again, if you're going to go out with your lady, right, Tommy? If you and your lady are going out, that's $20 a head to get in, 2 drink minimum each. Maybe you buy a meal or something like that. If you have to pay for parking, depending, you're into the fucking night $150, you know? And you're going to be, and you can't even go and have a good time anymore because the comedians are shit that you're booking already. And this is before the pandemic. Politically correctness and all this fucking cancel culture and all this bullshit, all that stuff is really what you're saying is wiping out a lot of what's going on now, you know? And so I agree with you, you know, because again, I'm the newbie out of all of us on this thing. I'm the newbie who just started getting out and doing some good road work, but I do come from a business background and I do understand sustainability, and the business model is not sustainable. It's just not. You cannot have a business that relies on packing people in close quarters and everybody drinking and spending money to a third of those people, you know? And like Tommy's saying, you're going to have a large percentage of people that aren't going to want to go out for a long period of time, regardless if there's a vaccine or not, you know? And so I think what you're saying is look for other avenues. That's already been happening. You've already been having to do social media. You've already having to do sketch comedies and all these other things to try and get recognized. I think the benefit that we're going to have out of this is that probably at least half of these people that consider themselves to be funny, they're going to try this for like 6 months. They're going to realize their shit is not funny, and they're going to drop out. And they're going to go do something else. They're going to fucking be mailmen.
A lot of them should kill themselves. That's all I'm saying. It's like I'm so fucking over these motherfuckers.
No, you'll get a lot of that, but again, for the people that are going to, you know, there's social media. I come from so being able to get visibility in social media, Facebook ads, Google AdWords, TikTok, whatever that bullshit is. That's a lot of fucking work.
Right, but you should be doing that. It should have been doing it anyways. It's not some new shit that you should have been doing. It's some shit you should always been doing.
Now, I got a question for Tommy. Tommy, what's your plan now that everything's changed? I'm curious about that. What's your future plan now?
Okay, so here's my reality. Here's what I understand. And this disease is going nowhere. It's not going to burn out. We've all had a lot of free time. I chose my free time to read science journals on my own leisure. It's not going anywhere. It's not disappearing. We're going to have to live with it and put up with it. That's the reality. So you're going to have half the population hibernating in fear, and other people that are, you know what? A life is not worth living if I have to live in fear. I'm going to live my life. So that's what you're going to have. So you're already going to eliminate a certain population from attending live audiences. Will you have speakeasies? Absolutely. The point is this: to make a living off of stand-up comedy, if you're not Chris Rock, if you're not Dave Chappelle, they don't need to make a living. I'm talking about the rest of the community that don't have the name. You're going to have to. What else can you do? No, you'll still be able to do comedy. I'm not saying you can do it for the backyard people, the Levity Live that bought out the Laugh Factory. Maybe you get accepted into there and do a guest spot. But the point is, I have a law degree. So what can I do with a law degree? So now I have all this time to think what I can do with my law degree. I haven't been practicing because I've been making a living doing stand-up comedy all these years, but I practiced for 2-3 years. So I will have to find out, we all have other talents. We're not limited, is what I'm saying. And I'm just saying for people not to hold their breaths and wait, it's going to happen. The clubs are going to open up. That's not the right choice.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. The reality is find out your other skills, and I'm never denying anyone to do stand-up comedy. You're going to be able to do stand-up, but by the way, I'm telling you right now, for at least, and I'm being very generous, 2 years, there will be no live stand-up in California.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there is, at Arizona State University, they've come up with like a pregnant test where women take those and they know within 15 minutes. They got one to see if you have the virus within 15 minutes. Now they're just trying to work out the cost and figure it out.
I took a blood test. Mine took 3 days.
No. This is just a thing. You swab your mouth and it lets you know if you have it within 15 minutes. So what they're trying to figure out now is the cost and how much to sell it to the public for.
Yeah, they still have to do the saliva test, the test by I want to say SmithKline, whoever.
Mine was blood.
Big tests, the four big tests that are in trial right now. they're not going to be able to come out of trial with that until the end of the year, the beginning of the year.
Right.
So,
But I'm just letting you know that from Arizona State, they've already have tried. That's what they were using on the athletes. That's why they knew at Arizona State if they had it or not. They've already tried it on them.
Yeah, no, I'm not doubting that. Matter of fact, as Tommy, I belong to. I was on a PrEP study. PrEP is this pill that you take. It's an anti-HIV pill. You eat it. If you have sex with somebody who has HIV, you won't get it. 99%. So I'm on my PrEP study just ended. Now, they just sent me an email asking me if I want to go on a COVID-19 vaccine study. So they are actively starting to test people for these vaccines to see, going back to what Tommy was saying about the efficacy rate, how effective are these vaccines? And so you're looking at, again, like Dr. Fauci was saying and all these guys, you're looking at sometime into next year before they're actually able to verify it and start mass producing it. Then once you have to mass produce it, you have to literally make enough for the entire fucking planet.
Right. But I'm not talking about a vaccine. I'm not talking about a vaccine. I'm talking about something that you could test to see if you have it before you leave the house, which is very important. So you just, before you go somewhere, if they want to test you at a club or something, before you come in, they could test you. If you don't have it, you come in, test you. If you do have it, you got to go home.
Right.
So this is what they've been using at the students at UCLA, Arizona State under football.
And that's fine, but many people are psychologically damaged already. The fear has. It's nice you can have tests, you can do all that stuff. They're not coming out. The elderly are not coming out. It's a demographic. Maybe that's not your demographic. You don't care about the demographic.
Right. The young kids are going to come out. The young kids are coming out.
Who's going to come out?
The young kids are going to come out.
Okay,
I'm saying the 20-somethings are going to come out.
Okay, I'll be very specific. I'm saying a certain demographic is not going to come out. So that limits the base pool. There are people in their 30s to 50s to 70s are not going to come out. Yeah, the young kids will come out. Okay. By the way, if that was solely fruitful, comedy clubs wouldn't be in this despair that they are in prior to the COVID-19 virus.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, listen, Tommy, I agree with you.
See, that's what you get for agreeing. You nigga, you don't know what you're talking about.
His fucking mic, I think it's from all the dick he sucked.
I think his internet got COVID. That's what happened.
His fucking microphone's got AIDS.
There are
he swallowed that microphone. That fucking
you back.
Down his throat. There you go.
No, I was just saying. I was just agreeing with Tommy. He's like, we're probably gonna lose like at least 50% of the comedy clubs because of all the things we're talking about.
Listen, I'm with Tommy on this. Way more than that, motherfucker. Like 90%.
I think at least
90% is gone.
90.
Levity, right, Tom? Levity.
It's all levity. By the way, it's good. By the way, levity has the deep pockets. They will buy. No, here's what's going to happen. You're either with levity or you're not with levity.
Right.
Or another. By the way, I'm speculating. It could be another monolith.
Like helium.
What'd you say?
Like helium or some one of those things.
Yeah.
So helium might get
it's going to be one monolith, and the rest is going to be speakeasies. I never said there's not going to be comedy happening. I'm talking about making a living. I'm talking about making a living, doing stand-up.
Right.
You are defying reality if you don't accept what's happening here.
Right.
So I'm just saying, you will be, okay, I'm saying this for the third time, you will be able to do it. I'm talking about making a living.
Living at it, right.
Making a living, you'll make money here, there, but it's done. All these comedy clubs are going down like spades. I'm telling you. By the way, none of them opened here in California. I'm telling you, they're not going live entertainment in California. We're going to talk about, okay, you want to go to Alabama, maybe to do a 200 spot? Okay, good, do it. But I'm telling you, it's going to be Levity Factory, Levity Store, Levity,
Levity Helium.
or some other monolith.
Levity Zone.
Yeah, Levity
Bone.
Zone. And that's what they're doing. They're waiting back. They got the ones with the deep pockets are waiting back. The rest are going to die like frogs under heat. And then you'll have your speakeasies for 20 people, and you get your $20 maybe, and 2 free drinks.
All right. Well,
So
How long have you been doing? Real quickly,
I'm just telling you.
Tommy, how long have you been doing? For the folks, how long have you been doing? How long have you been doing stand up?
Oh my God, at least 25.
Right on. Yeah.
And pro
Yeah.
and making a living.
Mm-hmm.
Making
Now, where
a
can
living
we,
over.
Tommy, where
And
can
I'm not.
we find
By the way,
you?
I'm pro comedy. I'm not against. I'm being realistic, smelling the winds where they're blowing, and I'm being. This is a positive message for me.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not a
talking
negative.
to the people. Yeah.
I'm not being negative. I'm saying wake up. Do not hold your breath and wait for it to. It's not going to resume. It's not. That's all I'm saying. So what else can you do? And that's what That's what we're going to have to figure out.
well, comedy's always been that. What else can you do? It's always been that way.
No,
For 90%. For 90%.
I
For
could always
90%
do
of the
law.
comics.
I could always do law, but I did comedy for 25 years.
Oh no, I get that. But what I'm saying, for 90% of the comedians, it's always having a side gig or doing something else. So I've never been just doing stand up, unless for 90% of the comics.
I don't know. I think it's less than that. I think a lot of comics make a living, whether it's doing the road or they're in house with the Comedy Store or doing auditions.
Oh no, I was at the Comedy Store, and everybody, unless you had a series or a movie out, you had a side gig.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was there for 10 years.
Okay. So regardless, the bottom line is the money's not going to be there, but whatever was out there before.
Right.
Now, I got a question for Tommy to sum it up. How do you feel about this as a person? Do you feel relieved? Because we've talked about this in private. We both have an opinion. How do you feel? Like, do you feel relieved? Do you feel freed from doing this? How do you feel
free.
from this whole
I
thing?
feel free. There's going to be a lot of cleansing. And by the way, I'm not saying down the line. I don't know how many years from now that it won't. I'm just saying for the interim future. We have to really be realistic where it is. But I'm relieved. A lot of evil has been swept away. A lot of evil are driven to this business. A lot of evil comedians with their pedophilic ways and with their. No, they're all. This is like a total cleansing what's happening here. A lot of things are being revealed right now. And
Right.
on the holistic level, and a lot of evil are attracted to entertainment, and they will now all be vanquished. And when the flood is over, there will be new sprouts of plants, new. The sun will come out again, and there will be a rainbow, and the cleansing will have done its job.
Where can we find you, Tommy?
You can find me at theTommyLama.com. I'm like the Dalai Lama, but only better, because I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay. All right, people. That's been our show. Ron Bush, fucking bring us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's give it up for my man Tommy Savitt over here.
Tommy Savitt.
Thank you very much
Thanks for
being on
coming on the
guest.
show, dude. Thanks for your fucking advice.
Absolutely. For any of the comedians that are watching this, like he's saying, change. It's time the game has changed, and so regardless of where you think you are in that game, you better recognize it. It's a different fucking game, and so plan accordingly. And thank you again, Tommy, for doing that. My name is Ron Bush. You can reach me at Ron Bush Comedy on Twitter, Ron.Bush1, Instagram, Facebook, Ron Bush online for the website. Obviously, I won't be touring anytime soon, but you know what? Fucking follow me anyway. I'll be talking some type of dumb shit. My boy Jeff, turning it over to you, nigga.
Yeah, man. Comedy's like any other business right now. They got to reinvent themselves. Everybody's trying to figure it out.
That's it.
And that's where we're at. So, comedy does anything. You can reach me on Twitter and on Instagram. My mom's white. That's my handle. and you can catch me on Facebook, Jeffrey Keller. And thank you, Tom, for being on and expressing your opinions. We appreciate
Very
that you
good,
were on the show.
very informative. You can find me on serialkillerofcomedy.com. That's my website. At Midget Demon on Twitter, Serial Killer Comedy on Instagram, and Mike Muratori on Facebook. If you want to do our show, contact one of the three of us. We'd love to put you on. We'll solve your problem.
And
Ron
remember
might even
this.
touch you. We don't
And
know.
remember this, Mike. Remember this. This show is entertainment purposes only.
This
You get
show
kicked
is
out your house.
purposes
If
only.
you get kicked out this house
If you
because
get kicked out of your house, it's not our fucking problem.
Yeah,
No
Tommy,
disrespect.
Tommy, we
try
got
to help you
motherfuckers
with
kicked
shit,
out. We
but
got
that's on you.
motherfuckers kicked out. We got motherfuckers kicked out of the house from doing this show, nigga.
Yeah, Tommy.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
snap.
gotta take, we're putting the episode on Patreon because the shit caused so much fucking trouble.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. That's how good we are.
Good. I'm glad to be part of it. Thank you.
all right, man. Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
So you think you got problems?
So you think you got problems? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very
So
much.
you think you got problems, motherfuckers? This is entertainment.
Great night, Tommy. my
You
man.
get kicked
Thank
out,
you
you're
very
on
much.
your own.
Thank you, Tommy.
You're on your own.
Yeah.